The smartest people say, learn from other people's mistakes so that you don't have to make them too. Today we're going to talk about 3 things you should know before you get married, or if you want to get married in your future. I think about Delilah and Samson, and how Samson, he was a man who was very strong. He had a lot of power. He had a lot of favor from God. He was blessed. But what happened was he saw this woman who was beautiful, gorgeous, on the outside looked like the perfect match for him. But then he begins to go to bed with this woman. He begins to sleep with this woman. He begins to give a lot of time and attention and emotional connection to this woman. People were looking to kill Samson because obviously people are jealous. Some people, they just don't want you to be out there being more strong and more powerful and doing more things than them. And so some people, they just want to destroy you simply for no reason because you're blessed and highly favored. That you're going to have haters because that's just the way people are. People are jealous. People seek to destroy you instead of uplift you. But I want to encourage you today, don't let that stop you. Keep going. But that was just a side note. But let's get back on track. So Samson, he was very powerful. People wanted to kill him, but then he got involved with this woman. And so what happened was the people who wanted to kill Samson went to the woman that he was with, Delilah, and said, Delilah, if you can get us the secret to why Samson is so strong, why he's so powerful, and what would make him weak, so that we can capture him, so that we can destroy him, we'll give you a lot of money. Delilah agreed. So she went to Samson, and through her charm and the way that she was, and her beauty and everything, Samson was so taken aback by her that he would basically try to give her anything she wanted. What ended up happening was Delilah ends up getting the answer from him after Samson had multiple times to see that Delilah wasn't a good woman, to see that she was dishonest, to see that she was disloyal. She had these red flags that Samson ignored. Samson continued to stay with this woman knowing that she was not a good woman, probably because she had this charm and this sexiness to her. He didn't want to let that go, but it ended up in the end destroying him. Delilah got the weakness, and the weakness was that if he cut off his hair, he would lose all of his strength. Delilah got that information, gave it to the people who were seeking to destroy him. In the middle of the night, they came, cut off his hair, and then was able to conquer him. When before that, he was unstoppable and nobody could conquer him. What ended up happening was that he died, and that was the end of his journey. He was destroyed simply by letting this woman into his life that was wrong for him, that did not have the same beliefs as him. He believed in God and she believed in something else. She didn't have the same beliefs. She didn't have the same values. She just was a woman who he thought looked good and didn't mind sleeping with her and didn't mind going on these dates with her. And it ended up costing him his life, his power, his strength. It ended up costing him a lot. So that's why I am so passionate about helping people get their relationships in order. Relationships could be a source of great pain and great suffering and agony and stress and anxiety for some people when they choose the wrong one, when they date the wrong way, when they don't pay attention to the red flags, when they ignore things that they really should not ignore, and when they stay too long when really they should leave. I encourage you today that there is a better way to go about dating that doesn't allow you to attract the wrong people, but helps you to attract the right people. I want to go into 3 things that you and maybe someone you know or love should know about marriage and a healthy relationship, help you to reach the result that you want, to have a long lasting, healthy marriage or relationship. Number 1, if you want to get married, if it's your desire to be in a healthy, long-lasting relationship. But I want to point something out that's really important. When you decide to get into a marriage, it's so important to marry the right person, because you are going to have to make sacrifices. But when you make sacrifices for the right person, that is a good thing. That person is not going to take advantage of you. They're not going to try to use you or abuse you or manipulate you or lie to you or treat you badly. That's why it's important to sacrifice for the right person. If you sacrifice for the wrong person, it could lead to heartbreak and misery and you giving way too much of yourself than you were supposed to give. But if you sacrifice for the right person, you date so that you can find the right person, you date the right way, find the right person, make the right decision to be with that person long term, and then the sacrifices that you make are going to be worth it. Why? Because not only are you going to invest into them, if they are the right one for you, are going to invest into you and make positive deposits into you like you can do for them. So the second thing, I don't want to ignore the red flags. That's what Samson did really wrong. Samson ignored the fact that Delilah was a liar. She was manipulative. The way that she talked was charming but deceitful. It was like let me get into your mind, but let me not think I'm getting into your mind. She displayed these red flags. They were apparent. He was so blinded by her beautifulness, by her sexiness, by her charm. He was so blinded by how beautiful she was. They were intimate. So he was blinded by the intimacy and all of that stuff, when if he would have just had clarity, if he would have dated the right way, maybe not have gone to bed with her too quickly, then he would have been able to see clearly that she was not the one for him. Here's some red flags that if you see these, be aware, consider whether that relationship is healthy or not. It's okay. If you go through his phone or her phone and you always find something you don't like, red flag. If you are constantly worried about where he or she is and you don't trust that they're being honest with you about where they are and what they're doing, red flag. If you feel like he or she is being too pushy or trying to get you to do things that you already verbalized that you don't want to do, or if you feel uncomfortable doing and you feel too afraid to speak up about it, red flag. If you feel that you need to be intimate with someone just to keep them from cheating on you, if you feel like you owe someone something, your body or something, that's a red flag. If you feel like, if I don't give them this, they're going to go get it from somewhere else, that's a problem. You should, no matter how many days you withhold yourself, you withhold intimacy from that person, if they really love you, if they really care about you, or if they really respect you, they will wait for you. They will be comfortable doing whatever it is that you want to do. Okay, you should never feel pressured into something like that. That's a red flag. Like I said, don't be like Samson. Pay attention to the red flag and take them seriously. I said before, relationships, they don't have to be heartache, pain, depressing anxiety. They don't have to cause all these problems. It's just that we have to know how to pick the right ones. We have to know how to date the right way so that we can pick up on red flags easier and avoid a heartbreak. Third thing we're going to talk about today is looks and money can be deceiving. Right off the back, people can look expensive on the outside. They can look like they have it all together. They can look like Delilah, sexy, beautiful, handsome, got it all together. And in their bank account, they can be broke. In their brain, they can be broke. In their mind, they could be broke. In their spiritual, emotional, physical well-being, they could be broke. So keep that in mind. People can look all amazing on the outside, but if they have no substance, or if their character or personality is shot and they have no respect, no love, no empathy, they don't give you what you need spiritually, mentally, emotionally, all they want to do is physically, that's just a huge red flag right there. The Bible says it like this: charm is deceptive and beauty does not last, but a woman who fears the Lord will be greatly praised. And that, I think, goes for men as well. That charm and handsomeness and all that stuff, that's not going to last. But what's going to really matter is how they treat you, what they do behind closed doors, what they do behind your back when they're not around you, who they really are when nobody's looking. That's what matters the most. Don't stay with someone just because they look like your ideal person that you want to be with. Don't stay with someone just because you feel so physically attracted to them that you can't keep your hands off them. I mean, that's important that they're attractive because you want to be able to like be around that person and feel comfortable with that person, and you have to feel like good about that. But don't let it overwhelm your mind to the point where all you think about, like Samson, all he thought about was how Delilah looked and what he wanted to do with her, that he didn't realize or take into consideration that this woman was out to literally destroy him, kill him, allow him to get killed by these people. Try to keep a clear, open mind and know that looks are not everything. Who we tell our secrets to, who we share our intimacy with, who we share our body with, who we share our kisses with, our love with, our kindness with. Like, be careful who you entangle with. Like, honestly, we have to be so careful about who we are entangling with, because if we entangle with the wrong person, they can literally destroy us. Not completely destroy us like Delilah did to Samson, but they can destroy us mentally, emotionally. They can destroy us. They can destroy our confidence, sense of self. They can destroy our self-esteem. They can destroy our heart, our mind. That's the problem, is that if we're not careful, we can allow people into our heart, into our soul, into our life. It could literally cost us our life. What are my suggestions? Okay. My suggestions are, if you're single, use your time of singleness to draw closer to God, to gain confidence in yourself, to be your best self, and focus on your inner self and your confidence, because confidence attracts the right people. Lack of confidence, insecurity, messiness, that's going to attract messy, not confident people. So you want to be who you want to attract. That's going to help you attract the right people. That's one tip that I go into really deep in my workbooks. Is when you date, really get to know the person outside of intimacy. Really get to know them. Go on regular dates, okay, that allow you to ask questions. And in my workbook, I go into all these questions that you can ask someone to really get to know them before you get intimate with them, before you start giving them parts of you that you can't take back, before you start giving them parts of you that can lead you to a heartbreak. And then my other tip is, don't just settle with someone because they look good. Be open. Be open to people who may have not found attractive in the past, but who may actually have character and substance. So if you get blessed like me, you can have a husband who's incredibly handsome and sexy and also has a lot of substance. They're out there. It's just, and you have to think differently than you've been thinking if the way you've been thinking isn't getting you the results you want. And you have to do things differently than what you've been doing if you want to get the results that you want to get. Albert Einstein says this. He says that insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. That's insanity. And then there's a smart person who says, learn from your mistakes. But then the smartest people say, learn from other people's mistakes so that you don't have to make them too. That's why I created this workbook. This workbook has so much value. Click down in the description box. I'm going to put a link there. It's a workbook that I put a lot of time and energy into creating. So, I created this workbook to help people, to help you, to help someone you love, to help be a young woman that you know that you don't even want to encounter a heartbreak. You just want them to avoid it altogether. This is for them. If you know someone in your life who they've been crying and over again over the same person, and you're just tired of seeing them depressed and sad about the same person, this is for them. If you yourself have been in dead-end relationships and now you're single, this is for you. This is for many different women of all different ages. But my workbook, it's called Wifey Prep, How to Prepare for Your Husband. I pour my heart and soul into this workbook. And so I really do. I want you to grab it. I want you to go get it. I poured my heart and soul into it. I think it'll help you. If not you, then someone you love. So please go get this workbook. I think some people, we're afraid to get help, or we feel like we don't need help, right? Or we feel like I don't need this, right? I don't need that, or I can do this on my own. I can figure this out on my own, or different things that you may feel. But I just want to encourage you that if you've been kind of doing the same thing over and over and not really getting the results you want, if you've been doing the same thing, you've obviously never encountered my workbook until now, so you haven't tried my workbook. So I just want to encourage you that if you feel like you've tried everything, or you're losing hope in marriage or relationships altogether, or someone who's so heartbroken and lost, or someone who you don't want ever to be heartbroken and lost, that really young girl, 15, 16, who may just be starting to date, or even younger, I think they're dating now, but that young girl who may even just be starting to date, and you're like, they could learn how to prepare, even though it's a wifey prep, it's still good to give them this workbook and show them what it truly means to prepare for a husband, and not just settle for less than what they deserve, and not just give their body away early to people who are going to just break their heart. Get this workbook, get the workbook. It'll change your life. It'll help someone you love, so you can send it to them.
Just one glass in, you're already on my mind. When it gets late, I always realize